AI, friend or foe, delightment or destruction. Some have embraced it, while others are angry or terrified of it. We tend to be terrified of the things that we don't understand. And maybe, just maybe, we have watched too many Terminator movies. The truth is that AI has been with us for a while in the form of Google Search, Siri, and Alexa. Today we chat with Brian Weiner, founder and CEO of Illusion Factory and Sizzle, to discuss AI and get a better understanding of this evolved technology in the creative arena. Welcome, Brian. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Some of the works that AI creates, they're pretty impressive. I think that creatives are a little intimidated. And one of the powers that it has is it knows its audience. It does not have an ego. And it creates based upon the information that it receives from that audience. This is not how some of the creatives work. The creative flow will change, and isn't that likely to put a lot of people out of work?
Well, I think that you can look at any one of the technological advancements that have come along over the course of my career. I've been working in entertainment for 44 years. So there was no computer, there was no internet. Cable TV had barely just come into existence as I started coming into the industry. So if you look at all the evolutions of any kind of technology, I remember as computer graphics came along, all the cell animators were panicked that they were going to be put out of business. But the truth is that there's more animation job opportunities now than there ever have been. And it just required some of those people to leverage a new skill set in order to take what's inherently brilliant about what they're doing, which is the creative process inside their mind, and having a new tool to work with. I think AI is absolutely that and a whole lot more.
Absolutely, I agree. And it's very useful. Is it possible to leverage AI in an ethical manner that's not threatening to people who may feel infringed upon in filmmaking?
Absolutely. I think if you walk the talk, if you start by looking at the concerns, for example, that the Screen Actors Guild is raising with regard to a digitization of a human being and then utilization of that on an ongoing basis without compensation, that's egregious, I think. And I think that there's countless other permutations of all those thought processes, from protecting the writers, the directors, the producers. Everybody in the traditional filmmaking process can be fully protected utilizing this technology. It just requires ethics, and it requires a game plan and an understanding, which I know that the unions are all striking about. We've put together a game plan for completely embracing artificial intelligent filmmaking at Illusion Quest Studios, my other company, and we're partnering up with a lot of the experts who have created what I call synthespians, the synthetic actors, and leveraging all of those assets in ways that if it's a person who's being utilized, they have full control of the asset. It's just another opportunity for them to use it. Or you might take an actor or an actress that might have hit a specific age that they could be playing, but what if they're still the best actor or actress for the role? If they had a digital aspect of their character, they would still be acting everything that that character is doing, even if that character was a younger embodiment. And if that sounds foreign at this moment in time, well, so did manga and anime and every other art form that came along and presented itself. But eventually it finds an audience and people get excited about it, right?
This is not a new thing. We have been superimposing with CGI for a while, and we've been using things like Unreal Engine to create some of the action things in Marvel and all these other superhero ones, because obviously they're doing things that regular people can't do. Blinked. Now, one of the things that has been around for about 2 years now, I remember seeing it about 2 years ago, is taking a digital person and you can get their voice and you can make that digital person like a big Trump or Mao or Elon, and you can make them say things that you want them to say that they never said. So fake news and trickery has been a real problem in the past decade especially. So what about the deep fakes? Is that at the core of the problem?
I think there's a lot of pieces to the equation. To minimize the dangerous side of a deep fake is being blind to a very big problem. That said, the creation of Photoshop created probably one of the single greatest moments for deep fakes. Now it's just animating, but we've lived through 20 plus years of Photoshop and we're all still alive from all of that. I think at the end of the day, it isn't as much the deep fake that's the problem, it's the education of the human being who is engaging with the deep fake that has to be the problem that has to be addressed, is that there has to be a mass education of people as to what this technology is doing, and to be that much more wary so that the unsuspicious grandparent or similar, doesn't get scammed, or somebody's voice doesn't get sampled and used as a ransom, or all the other countless permutations that I've heard about. I mean, look, I've worked on Terminator projects. I'm very familiar with the whole thought process of Cyberdyne and Skynet and where all that's going. And I think that there is a real problem to be looked at. But I would also look at the situation and I would say there's a giant methane bubble underneath the Sea of Norway, and one earthquake unlocks that bubble, and then all of Earth's atmosphere becomes unbreathable. Or it could be a drunk driver tonight, or it could be another SARS virus or similar. I mean, there's 100 things to be scared about. Oppenheimer's going to wake everybody up again to nuclear proliferation and all those problems. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to be terrified about, and AI is one of them, but it's such a great tool and it's so valuable. So you have to get out in front of it if you're an artist and start to use it to new advantage. And I think that as long as there's organizations that are operating ethically within the space, then people's rights are protected.
I personally use it with my work. And I don't create as much with it, but it definitely helps with research. And I'm able to take what I do create into it and make sure that it's written the best it can be written. So I am a fan of how it helps me in my time. And just as we talk to Siri, it can be very useful in these ways. How does AI play a role in the illusion factory in Sizzle?
First, I want to address an issue that everybody's saying that AI is just plagiarism. So let's just explore the math of that, for example. If you were to take every last painting that Salvador Dali painted, and every last sculpture, and every last sketch, somewhere there's a finite number of illustrations that he or Pablo Picasso or anybody else has utilized, right? If you take any subject matter and you go into a competent AI that's got access to his database and you say, do something as influenced by Salvador Dali, when people say that that's plagiarism, what they're saying is, oh, you just scrape something and you put it into your painting and it's something that Salvador Dali created. What you're really not understanding, and this is so important to me about AI, it's that AI is referencing all of these different aspects, and then it is assimilating multiple permutations instantly and putting those together as a visualization. So if you're exploring what a specific set that you're thinking about as a writer might look like, and you open up AI and you start to type some of your description in and you start to see a visualization of that, what I've discovered in my use of AI is that it's teaching me as much as I'm teaching it. So as a biofeedback device, the more that I give it more comprehensive thoughts about what I'm looking for, the more that I get. But concurrently, it shows me some art direction ideas that I might not have considered, and that influences, my writing as to where I might be going, right? It's a give and take. So there's lots of uses for the AI, and somebody says, well, you've just eliminated an artist's position. And my response would be, if you've got lots of projects, you would just put an artist instead of me doing that same thing, and let that artist's brain use this new tool.
Exactly.
And Adobe's Firefly and all the new systems that are coming out, it's massive, right?
I'd like to touch a little bit about what you said. I am an artist as well, and I work in mixed media, but I have also been inspired by those same works. So does that make me a plagiarizer if I have scraped some of the things that I've seen in other artworks and been inspired by them.
Okay, let's go back to a famous story about Michelangelo and Da Vinci. They were both painting opposite walls in the Palazzo Vecchio in Florence. And Michelangelo was doing one battle on one side, and Da Vinci was doing the Battle of Anghiari on the other side. And Da Vinci couldn't get his newfound created paint to cure, so he hauled giant cauldrons of boiling oil up to try and make the paint dry and destroyed his masterpiece. And the only thing that's left of it is a cartoon, a sketch that Michelangelo did of Da Vinci's work. That's how we even know that the piece existed. So is Michelangelo a plagiarist? And I can tell you stories out of school about directors who are watching other directors' scenes on the set before they shoot a similar scene. Art is inspired.
Yes.
And to believe that it's not is arrogant. Just go create art in your own bubble in the forest and don't look at anybody else's artwork, and then you'll get that style. So I don't think it's plagiaristic. It can be. If you're aiming to plagiarize, it could get close.
Well, and you can create fakes. And, that has been a problem throughout history as well, not just with AI. So, that's the people that are trying to use it as a dangerous tool, not necessarily the program.
Well, you can create fakes with Photoshop. They were having counterfeit problems in the beginning with Photoshop until Adobe put corrective measures in the software. And I've been noticing on some of the AI platforms that things that you might have been able to do 3 weeks ago, you can't do any longer because they're getting feedback and they're starting to curtail specific behavior. I think that's a good thing, right? It's only through a lot of different human beings going into that system that you're going to start to discover some of the permutations that are problematic or dangerous or infringing. And then you just continue to make a better system.
And you got to learn how to use the tool. And with knowledge, you dispel ignorance, and when you do not have ignorance, you do not fear it. You use it.
There's so many new tools that are coming out at this point in time, too, that trying to stay completely on top of all of that is almost a full-time job every week. It's growing that fast. But AI is bigger in its impact on society than the internet. The long-term range of what AI is going to do as an evolutionary power of 10 is inestimable at this moment. So I'm excited about it.
I think it's close to the Industrial Revolution. I think we're definitely seeing that brink. And I'm sure there are lots of people that fought the Industrial Revolution that we enjoy today.